One of my favourite places to be on the bass viol is playing Continuo. And I'm always disappointed when I hear people say things like, oh, I'm just playing the bass, you know, I'm just keeping out of the way. The recorder player's got all the interesting stuff, really. And I think you've just missed the point. Playing bass is the best place to be. I think people just underestimate how much fun you can have with a continuo part and how much thinking you should be doing all the time. So I have a theory that says when you play continuo, you have probably more than this in real life, but for now, 3 possible functions, 3 possible kind of reasons for being there. And I think you need to know which of those jobs you have at any given moment and how therefore you're going to play any particular bit. So I reckon that as a bass player, you can have a melodic function. Have you got a line that is worth hearing? Have you got a line that if it wasn't in a bass part, you'd think, oh, this is a melody, but somehow or other when it comes as part of a continuo line, we just sort of ignore it because it's not the tune. It's absolute nonsense. So if you've got a part, you get beautiful lines in continuo parts. So one of your functions could be a melodic one. One of your other functions, one of your frequent functions as a bass player, is a harmonic one. What do I mean? Well, let's see, in the piece that we're going to look at, we're going to look at the first movement of Handel's violin sonata in G minor. So here we are in G minor. Here's a possible harmonic function. Yeah, what are you there for in the bass? You're there to say, cadence coming up, folks. 5, 1, told you so, and there it is. So your job, you might signal that cadence, and then your job is simply to provide it. So you're not there to do anything dramatic with that, just to put in the required harmony in the required place to make that cadence. What if you had it's still a harmonic function, isn't it? But a very, very different one. So your job in that case is to do something with that note. You can't just, as though nothing has happened. You've spent all this time going, cadence coming up, and then you go and do that. So there are things within your bass part where you need to really shape the way that you play or choose the character of what you play because your function is a harmonic one and it perhaps did what you expected, so you didn't need to write home about it. It wasn't great news, you just got on and played it. Or it was a harmonic function and it was something really quite outrageous and you needed to make something of it and handle it carefully and do something different. And the final thing that I think your job can be as a bass player is rhythmic. So sometimes you are there just to really and your job is to be as rhythmic as possible, and you can kind of get out the way or you can really add to the way things are going. So I think you need to know, is my function melodic, harmonic or rhythmic at any given moment? And I think that will change within the same bar. I don't think you have that function for the whole piece or the whole movement or even a whole phrase. I think very often it changes a bar at a time and even within the same bar. So what I think I would like to do is play you the very beginning of this sonata, just the opening phrase or two, and to listen particularly to the solo part, to the violin part on the top, rather than to the bass, and to listen to the character of it, because it's all very well me saying we need to shape our bass part in a certain way, and you need to know what's going on in the bass part. You need even more to know what's going on in the solo part. So we're going to listen to the first 5 bars or so of this, and I'm interested in the character of the violin parts, particularly comparing the beginning to bar 4. What's changed, and consequently what are we going to do with the bass parts? Okay, so at the very beginning, the first note in the fiddle part, I think, is going to grow through the dotted crotchet, and then it's a really sweeping melodic line, isn't it? So if we play the bass kind of short and not with any shape, it's not going to match very well, is it? So I wonder if we could make our bass line at the beginning as soupy and as melodic as the top line is. Your job really is to keep things moving. I mean, if we it's going to make us very unpopular, isn't it, with the solo part, but I think within that there's plenty of space to shape this. So let's have a go from the top, just playing the bass line. I'm going to count it in quavers so we've got some vague chance of being together. So we'll try 5, 6, 7, 8. Because there's a lot to think about in there. So there's the melodic opening, but I think within that there's the melodic line, but that G could just fall away, couldn't it? Pick this up. Now in the second bar, I don't think this is aiming there. I don't think the top part is going to massively accent the second bar, so I don't think we should in the bass either. Let's enjoy the journey, but not be too excited about the destination when we get there at the beginning of bar 2. I think we've got to get to there. And then you might expect to get there, but actually, what a great line, all the chromatic. So the thought from the end of bar 2 has to take you all the way to the F in the middle of bar 3. So at the beginning of bar 2, we've had, and then, but don't stop. Yeah? What about these? Those are your notes. The top part has nothing to do. So I would really play them out, offer them up as something melodic. And then, this was the leading question I asked you at the beginning. What's different in bar 4? There's a lot more air in the top part. I'm deliberately putting air where the dots are in the rhythm. So if the top part is going to be quite lifted and full of poise, if you like, It's going to sound a bit strange if we keep going with our gloopy quavers in the bass parts. So in bar 4, I think they could just be slightly less sticky. And now look, what's this? Bog standard cadence, isn't it? That's the technical term. So just don't make too much of it. Signal it coming, and then just get on with it. Shall we try that from the top? Let's count as in quavers again. So we're 5, 6, 7, 8. Tuck an extra little back bow in there. That's at the cadence in bar 5. Where do we come? You need this on a back bow, and it just requires an extra tuck in there. It's a good place to do it, I think, on the octave leap. Now I've stopped on that B flat, but actually if you look at the top parts, it does cadence there. But it's like the beginning. So that note in the middle of bar 5 has a dual function. It functions as the resolution of the cadence, but it also starts the melody again. So when you've played that first B flat, this really needs to help move stuff forward, and the dotted crotchet in the top part will hopefully grow elegantly through it, and you can really answer that in the bass parts. I should have said as well, actually, there's quite a lot of places in here where on the final quaver of the bar you need to make sure you've really caught the top part. So the last quaver of 5, however much fun you're having down here, make sure you pick the melody up on the final quaver of the bar, and the same back in 1, 2, the end of bar 3. I said, offer up your melody, but the last quaver of that bar, make sure you pick the top part up and you play it together. It's not a question of letting the top part play and you just kind of sitting in the background and following along behind. Things like upbeats need to happen together. It's a collective thing. Everybody in, yeah, and together we move the phrase on. So don't sort of stay out of the way and let the top part do their thing. Shall we play on from, let's go from 5. And we'll play on for a bit. Bar 5. 5, 6, 7, 8. Another back bow. Moving on. This is bar 8. That is about to be a fantastically beautiful chord. It needs to be a full crotchet. I would say it needs to be borderline too long. Don't make it too long, but absolutely don't make it too short. And it needs a real shape to it. You need a very slow bow, and one that allows that crotchet to really bloom. And just comes off into the quaver rest. Don't stop the bow on the string. Let the sound grow and just move into the rest so that you can pick it up the top octave. So I'm doing a lot of varying of lengths of quavers. I've not played any yet where everything has been equal. So sometimes you're moving, things like semitones are a giveaway, raised sharps, because they're often heading into the next note. So you pick up an F sharp somewhere and it's going there. There's been a few notes in between, but that one belongs to this. And that's the reply. This is in bar 6 and bar 7. I hope that's making some kind of sense. That's a chord just outlined. That's the end of 7. But this, its job is to get there, and that job is a really harmonic one, and an interesting harmonic one. Whereas what follows bog standard cadence. So don't make too much of it. That's 13. Now that ought to be a D minor cadence, but look what the top part does. It's not at all what we expect, is it? A completely different colour. I think we should just listen again. I'm going to play from round about bar 5, both parts together, and we'll stop. Where shall we stop? There isn't a great place to stop. We might stop round somewhere sort of 14-ish. I'll see what happens when we play it. Here it comes. This is the middle of 5. Parts together from the start of bar 5. 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll stop there actually for a second. So in bar 13, no, it's not 13, is it? It's 9. I've got my numbers on the end of the lines. Bar 9. Because of what happens next in the solo part, the B natural at the end of that bar is really telling, isn't it? So I think you can't play that like it's just a standard cadence. It's gone somewhere harmonically where you didn't expect. So your job could be a melodic. And then it's just a cadence. quite a lot of air in the violin parts in 12. What clef are we in? So again, if you end up you're going to get in the way, so be careful. But by the time we get to 13, I've had enough of just being too short. So I would get a little bit longer. End of 13. It's a spectacular harmony on the final quaver of that bar. You come in on your F sharp. Look where the top part is, on an E flat. So there, E flat. Not sure I can reach that. So it needs to be long. And it's such a climactic part at the start of 14 after all that climbing up. So you need to really gather up the top parts on the last quaver of 13 and take it across the bar line to help with the top of that phrase. But then what? Bog standard cadence. But again, the harmony doesn't do quite what you expect. In 14, so you need to make the most of. I'm playing a G major chord here, and what you're doing in the fiddle part with your Fs and your A flats, I think you can really enjoy that. And the E flat in 15 is a fantastic note. Against a tied D in the top part. So it's going to be really colourful, but only if you make it really something and come right away on the D that's after it. So your harmonic function there is to push that E flat as much as you dare, so that is a relief when it comes. And then look, 5, 1. Yeah, just get on with it. Then that note. So whoever's playing the top part, in this case me, so it's not going to be too florid, but they're allowed to invent all sorts of stuff in there. But you cannot, just in the bass, sit there and wait for it to happen and then move, because it's pointless. You have to grow this so that is a complete relief. So your job is to set that up. So risk it. You have to time it so that obviously you don't run out of bow way before the top part reaches its trill. So you need to know what the other player is going to do. But you do need to really shape that so the final one relaxes. Shall we play together? Where's a good place to pick up from? I think we're going to go from the last quaver of bar 8. The last quaver of 8. And that's another one where you need to pick up the top part. You need to be so aware of what's going on in the solo part that you're absolutely together on the bar line. I'll count you in. 5, 6, 7. Make this quite long. slow this as much as you dare. Really slow bow. It's very, very hard to work on a continuo part when you haven't got somebody playing the top line actually all the time with you. So I hope that's made some kind of sense. I'm going to play you a complete version so that you can hopefully hear the things that I've been trying to explain in the bass part. And then I'll play you a version with just the violin part so that you can put the continuo in and have a go at some of those shapes and things yourself. Five, 6, 7.